Good evening, everybody. Okay, so today we'll continue on from where we were last time. Last time we finished the equalizing and exchanging self with others, remember? And so if you want some more on that, in Geshe Champa Tekchok's book, Transforming Adversity into Joy and Courage, chapter 11 is stupendous on this topic. And it's the most thorough description of the Tonglen taking and giving meditation I've ever seen, and just his whole way of presenting equalizing and exchanging self and others is really beautiful. So I refer you to that. And so today we'll continue on from there, and we go from there into talking about aspiring and engaging bodhicitta, and the process of, generating aspiring bodhicitta, taking the bodhisattva vows. And then after that, we go into the bodhisattva's deeds, the 6 perfections, or 6 far-reaching practices. Okay, so we are making our way through the Lam Rim. So it's really good if people, keep on doing the meditations from the beginning of the Lam Rim, and every day recite one of the glance meditations, such as the foundation of all good qualities, or 3 principal aspects of the path, or there's many of those kinds of prayers. Reciting one of those so that you review all the stages of the path, and then continuing to cycle through the Lam Rim and get a deeper understanding of all the different meditations. Yeah, because that will really help your mind a lot, especially when, you get confused and whatever. Okay, so we'll do our practice. We'll start with a little bit of breathing meditation as usual, and then do the visualization and so on. Okay, so bring your mind to your breath. Let your mind relax. Then visualize in the space in front, the Buddha, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, yourself surrounded by all the sentient beings. And then we will lead the sentient beings in turning to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for guidance, and in generating the altruistic intention of bodhicitta, and so on. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the wages of myself and others to the Great Awakening. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn, Meru, for land, sun, and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. Holy Gurus, in the space of your truth body, from billowing clouds of your wisdom and love, let fall the rain of the profound and extensive Dharma, in whatever form is suitable for subduing sentient beings. Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. Glorious and precious Root Guru, sit upon the lotus and moon seat on my crown, guiding me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind, the eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen, supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom, illuminators whose wise means vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors I make request. Taya ta muni muni maha muni asoha. Taya ta muni muni Mahamaniya Soha. Taya Tao Mani Mani 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 Mahamaniya Soha. So remembering the Guru Buddha on your head, then we'll make the following request. It is not right to be self-centered and abandon others, because we are all equal in our desire for happiness and our wish to avoid suffering. Hence, I need to cherish others as I cherish myself. For just as being treasured by others pleases me, so will others be pleased when I treasure them. Moreover, even though I wanted to attain excellent results for myself, since beginningless time in samsara, I have been self-preoccupied and accomplished nothing for the sake of others. As a result, I have experienced only myriads of misery. Consequently, self-centeredness has been the source of all my misfortunes, the dukkha of samsara, of the lower realms, and so forth. Since preventing future self-centeredness from arising, overcoming present self-centeredness, and cherishing others are the source of all good qualities, may I generate the attitude cherishing others that I currently lack, and may whatever I have grow stronger. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. So really think about that and make that request. And then think, Siddhartha attained complete Buddhahood by abandoning self-centeredness, cherishing others, and devoting himself exclusively to their welfare. By following his example, I too will attain Buddhahood very soon. Having failed to do so until now, I have wandered in samsara. As long as I continue to harbor self-centeredness within me, I will not be able to cultivate cherishing others. Or if I do, I will not manage to maintain that attitude. Thus, may the thought that is preoccupied with myself and abandon others not arise in me, even for an instant. May I give up my selfish concern and cherish others. Entirely take upon myself other sentient beings' dukkha and negativities, and offer others all my happiness and goodness. Thus may I ensure that all sentient beings are free of dukkha and attain great happiness. Presently, I lack the ability needed to do this. If you ask who has it, it is a complete and perfect Buddha. Thus may I attain the state of complete and perfect Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, my mothers. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. So again, contemplate that. And then again request, O Guru Buddha, please inspire me and all sentient beings so that once we have generated the supreme wish for supreme awakening in its aspirational and engaging forms, we may train in the Bodhisattva's precepts. In response to your requesting the Guru Buddha, 5-colored light and nectar stream from all parts of his body into you through the crown of your head. The light and nectar absorb into your body and mind and into the body and mind of all the sentient beings around you. Purifies all of your negativities and obstructions accumulated since beginningless time, and especially purifies all illnesses, interferences, negativities and obstructions, and especially all bad moods that interfere with training in the precepts once you have generated the wish for supreme awakening in its aspirational and engaging forms. Your body becomes translucent, the nature of light. All your good qualities, lifespan, merit, and so forth expand and increase. Think in particular that a superior realization of training in the Bodhisattva's precepts, once you have generated the wish for supreme awakening in its aspirational and engaging forms, has arisen in your mind stream and in the mind streams of others. Okay, so the first part of the motivation was still under the part of equalizing and exchanging self for others and generating the bodhicitta motivation. And then, having finished that section, we're starting a new section that's how to maintain bodhicitta through ritual. And that has two divisions: what to do in the actual meditation session, and what to do between meditation sessions. And then what to do in your meditation session has preliminaries, actual meditation, and conclusion. The preliminaries are, as we went through before, visualizing the merit field, doing all the different recitations and visualizations and so on. Okay? And then the actual meditation has two parts. So first part is how to take the bodhisattva vow for the first time, or how to take the bodhisattva ethical restraints for the first time. And then second, once having taken them, how to keep them from declining. Okay? So I'll just read here so that way you'll get the oral transmission. Although the Lamrim teaches taking the precepts of aspiration and engagement sequentially, it is simpler to take them simultaneously according to Shantideva's tradition. The way to do so, is to first follow the usual preliminary steps, okay, like we do when we're starting a meditation, and especially the seventh in prayer. In particular, do the actual meditations on how to rely on spiritual mentors up to bodhicitta, so that whole glance meditation up to bodhicitta in a heartfelt fashion. And then while visualizing the Guru Buddha on your head, think, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, may I quickly attain complete and perfect Buddhahood. For that purpose, from now on, until I attain the essence of awakening, I shall keep the ethical code of the conqueror's heirs, in other words, the Bodhisattva ethical code, train in their vast activities, and for the sake of all sentient beings, attain Buddhahood. May I maintain this intention until I do indeed realize Buddhahood. Okay? So, and then it has, then it says, imagining that you are repeating the words after the Guru Buddha, then you say, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please listen. Just as the Sugatas of the past generated bodhicitta and trained step by step in the Bodhisattva precepts, I too, for the sake of sentient beings, will generate bodhicitta and train step by step in the Bodhisattva precepts. Having repeated these 3 verses, think that you have attained the Bodhisattva precepts. And then next, to rejoice, say, today my life has become fruitful. I have successfully attained a human life. Today I have been born into the Buddha family and have now become a child of the Buddhas. From now on, whatever I do will be in harmony with that family. I will do nothing to taint this unsullied family of ethics. Okay, so what this topic is about the aspiring and engaging bodhicitta. So usually they're taken sequentially, like it said here, but in this text they were all taken at the same time with that last verse, which happens to be, not the last, but the second to the last verse, which happens to be directly out of, engaging in the Bodhisattva's deeds, Shantideva's text, and the rejoicing verse was also out of that text, okay? So you have to understand aspiring and engaging bodhicitta, yeah? Aspiring bodhicitta is having the aspiration to become a Buddha. Engaging in bodhicitta is actually going about doing the practice to become a Buddha. So they say that the difference between aspiring and engaging is like having the idea, I want to go to Dharamsala. That's aspiring. And then going out and getting your passport and your visa and buying a ticket and driving to the airport and getting on the plane and getting off the plane and navigating Delhi is, that's the engaging part, okay? So it's a different ballgame. One thing is to say, wow, I want to go. And another thing is to really do it, yeah? Okay, so the reason they're done sequentially is because, you know, there's a difference between having the aspiration and then making that aspiration firm enough so that you're actually going to go and do it, and and be able to bear with fortitude whatever you have to go through to be able to do it. Yeah, because aspiring is just the wish, but you don't have to put yourself out for anything. Okay, engaging, you have to put yourself out. Okay, so it takes some time, you know, even let alone to develop the engaging, even to develop the aspiring, you know, because the aspiring is, you know, we're really saying, I aspire to get rid of my self-centered attitude and you know, and cherish others more than myself, and to become a Buddha for their benefit. And that's really my heartfelt wish and what I really want to do in my life. Yeah, but even getting to that, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, which is why we have the whole rest of the Lamrim meditations before this, okay? Because all those meditations help build us up to the point where we see that becoming a Buddha is something that is really wonderful and that we might consider doing ourselves, okay? So then giving so that's just aspiring and engaging bodhicitta in general. Then there is aspiring bodhicitta, generating aspiring bodhicitta in a ceremony, okay? And so there's two levels of doing that, you know? One is in the presence of your teacher, you recite some verses and you aspire to generate, to become a Buddha, yeah? There's the ceremony His Holiness usually uses. The first verse is taking refuge. The second verse is generating bodhicitta. And the third verse is, you know, for as long as sentient beings remain. And, you know, that verse, okay? That's a dedication verse. So that's the one he usually uses for aspiring bodhicitta. So there's two ways you can do aspiring bodhicitta. One is you just generate bodhicitta in the presence of your guru, reciting those verses, and that's it, you know? And it was something virtuous, it's something wonderful. You did it once, you dedicate the merit, you rejoice, and that's it, okay? The other way of doing aspiring bodhicitta is generating it with the commitment not to give it up. Okay, so you're not taking the bodhisattva ethical restraints yet. You're just generating aspiring bodhicitta, but you're doing a little bit more than before. Before you just did it and that was it, no commitment. This time you're generating bodhicitta, but you're saying, I'm not going to give it up. Okay, so that takes a little bit more courage from our side to do. Okay, and what I'll go through in a minute is, you know, when you make that commitment not to give it up, then how to keep it. There's some guidelines for what to do so that we can keep that commitment, okay? Then after, you know, so first you kind of generate bodhicitta, no commitment, aspiring bodhicitta. Then you do aspiring bodhicitta with commitment. Then you keep practicing a bit more and you say, okay, yeah, bodhicitta with commitment, I don't want to give it up, but now I really want to get on the road to Buddhahood, you know. I'm ready now to make the commitment to walk that path. And that's the point where you take the engaging bodhicitta. And that's when you take the ethical restraints, okay? In the Tibetan tradition, it's 18 root and 46 auxiliary precepts. In the Chinese tradition, it's 10 root and 48 auxiliary, I think. Yeah, and so that's when you actually take the precepts, because the precepts guide us in doing the six perfections, and really practicing them well. Okay, so is it clear now? Difference between aspiring bodhicitta and then the two kinds of aspiring. Okay, so then in the text, the next outline is once taken, how to keep them from declining. So this is how to keep your bodhicitta from declining. So this next section I'm about to read is how to protect your bodhicitta from declining in the future lives. So this is part of the commitment for the aspiring bodhicitta. Okay? Not the bodhisattva ethical restraints, but the commitment for aspiring bodhicitta. Okay? So that's where it says, you meditate with the Guru Buddha on your head, and then for the sake of all mother sentient beings, may I quickly attain complete and perfect Buddhahood. For that purpose, by reflecting on the benefits of bodhicitta 3 times a day and 3 times at night, I shall keep my promise to maintain bodhicitta. No matter how sentient beings behave and what they do, I shall never banish a single one of them from my heart. To reinforce the bodhicitta I have generated, I shall strive to accumulate the 2 collections by making offerings to the 3 jewels and so forth. Okay? So, what this is, if you also have the red prayer book, okay, what was in there, what I just read, was 4 points on how to protect your bodhicitta from degenerating in this life. Okay, so the first point was to remember the advantages of bodhicitta again and again. Yeah, so in the Lam Rim, it talks about the advantages of bodhicitta. I won't go through the listed advantages, but you can think of yourself the advantages of bodhicitta. I mean, it's the source of all happiness for the world. Yeah, and then of course, from our side, it protects us from interferences. It makes our life meaningful. We are able to call ourselves a child of the Buddha in the sense that we've entered into the lineage of the Buddha. We've done something really noble. When you generate bodhicitta, you purify incredible amounts of negativities, negative karma. You create incredible merit. In the Precious Garland, when Nagarjuna talks about the kind of merit we need to attain Buddhahood, it's like this is limitless and that's limitless and all the merit's limitless. And then he says, well, you could look at that and go, everything's limitless. How can I create that much merit? It's too much. But Nagarjuna says, by generating bodhicitta, you create limitless merit. And everything you do with bodhicitta is limitless, because sentient beings are countless. So when you work for the benefit of countless sentient beings, you generate incalculable merit because you're working, So he said, yes, all these causes for enlightenment are incalculable or inconceivable, but when you practice bodhicitta, all the merit you create is also inconceivable, And it's really true when you think about it, I mean, you can feel it sometimes in your body. I don't know about you, but when I'm into, my self-centeredness and I'm working for the benefit of one sentient being, okay? Think like that for a minute, yeah? I'm looking out for me. Do you have a certain even physical sensation? Yeah? And then think, okay, I'm going to work for the benefit of countless sentient beings, forever. It doesn't matter what I have to go through. All these beings have been kind to me. From the bottom of my heart, I really want to do something wonderful. Do you have a totally different, physically? Can you feel the difference physically? Yeah, it's like this, And we're not even bodhisattvas and we can feel the difference. Imagine what a bodhisattva feels like. Yeah? She can just feel this, just we're just even thinking about bodhicitta for a minute, and even just how your body feels is completely different. Yeah? So there, right away, you have proof of the benefits of bodhicitta, don't you? That's it, your own experience, you have proof. Yeah? Okay, so remember the advantages of bodhicitta. The day, or in the evening, in the morning, again and again. Yeah? So that's the first point, to keep our bodhicitta from degenerating in this life. Okay. Second point is to strengthen our bodhicitta, generate the thought to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening. Recitation and contemplation of the prayer for taking refuge in generating bodhicitta is a good way to do this. Okay? So the prayer that we always say at the beginning, I take refuge until I am enlightened, that prayer, that's the one we're talking about, okay? So when you recite that verse and you really think about the meaning, and you recite it 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, you're not only generating bodhicitta, or taking refuge, you're also generating bodhicitta. Yeah? And so if you make that part of your day, every day, yeah, that's going to have an effect on you, isn't it? Yeah? Even if, you're half groggy when you get up in the morning and you do it, if you do that every day, it's, think of this. How does it feel every morning to get up and your first thought is, I want some tea. Or, I want to go back to sleep. Or, why is the cat bugging me wanting to eat? Instead of that being your first thought in the morning, having your first thought in the morning be, I want to benefit sentient beings and attain Buddhahood to do that. Yeah? That's going to make a big difference in your life, isn't it? Yeah, big difference. Even if you're half asleep when you're thinking like that. Because, again, that you can feel the difference in your body and in your mind between waking up and, what do I have to do today? Oh God, I have to deal with these obnoxious sentient beings. Having that be your first thought versus, I want to become a Buddha to benefit all these sentient beings because I care about them. Yeah? Can you feel the difference? Yeah? So that's why, in the morning when we get up, generate bodhicitta. In the evening before we go to bed, generate bodhicitta. In the daytime, as much as you can, generate bodhicitta. Yeah? Because it's going to have an effect. Every time you do that, it plants seeds on your mind stream. Yeah? And people who have already taken the bodhisattva ethical restraints, you should be retaking them every day, by doing this kind of verse. But here we're just talking about it in the sense of aspiring bodhicitta. Okay? Then the third point is do not give up working for sentient beings even when they are harmful. Oh my goodness. It says, no matter how sentient beings behave and what they do, I shall never banish a single one of them from my heart. Come on, can I banish 1 or 2? That's where our mind goes, doesn't it? Oh yeah, all sentient beings, I love them. But there's a couple of them I just can't handle, Please, Buddha, can I just banish those 2 sentient beings from my heart? And I'll work for the benefit of everybody else. Yeah. But Sam number 1 and Sam number 2, I just can't handle. Yeah. Yeah, is that going to work? That's not going to work, is it? Absolutely not going to work. Because if we abandon one sentient being, we are on the slippery slope to abandon more than one sentient being. All of them, aren't we? And when we abandon all sentient beings because we're sick and tired of them, who's left to care about? Me. So then we chase all the sentient beings away and we sit in the room alone. Because we're fed up with all these obnoxious people who come in. So we just banish them. I want to be alone. Get out of here. Then we're all alone in our room. Are we happy?
No.
No. Not at all. So then we have to reconsider our mind that wants to banish sentient beings. Don't we? Is that mind that wants to banish sentient beings helping us or harming us? It makes us pretty lonely, doesn't it? Sentient beings may not be perfect, but who said they were going to be? Besides my unrealistic expectations.
That's our ignorance.
Huh?
I think that's our ignorance, actually.
That's our...
That unrealistic expectation, to me, that signifies our ignorance.
Yeah.
We carry this kind of ignorance.
Right. That we carry the kind of ignorance that expects samsaric beings to do whatever we want. Yeah. That's as ridiculous as being jealous of an obnoxious person. Yeah? So, yeah, it's a lot of arrogance, isn't it? You know, I'm so good and these sentient beings drive me crazy. Get thee gone. Isn't there some line from Shakespeare? Sounds like it should be, you know? Get out of here. Yeah. I want to be happy, so leave me alone. So then they all go. Then we don't have anything to eat. We don't have a house to live in. We don't have medicine. We don't have electricity. The toilet breaks. Nobody fixes it because we don't know how to. You know? And then all of a sudden we realize, oh, I'm dependent on sentient beings to stay alive. And they've been kind to me. And even if I can't stand them, I can't live alone. I cannot stay alive alone just by me. That can't work. I don't know how to keep myself alive. Yeah. So I need these sentient beings who are kind. Yeah. So I can't banish them. Yeah. Okay, so do not give up working for sentient beings, even when they are harmful. I remember one time, there was one nun, and she and I weren't getting along very well. She was quite upset with me. I can't even remember now why. Because I'm so wonderful, why would somebody be upset with me? You know. So, yeah, so this was many years ago. So somehow we wind up going, because her teacher and my teacher were kind of best friends. So we wound up, we had to go, we were organizing, we were working together, so we had to go see our teachers about something. And I remember her, you know, saying like, well, I'm mad at you, but I haven't completely abandoned my bodhicitta. I haven't broken my bodhisattva precept. Like, well, thanks, you know. I didn't realize you just liked me that much. Yeah. That I was willing to abandon bodhicitta for. No, I don't think I'm that bad. Anyway, we're now good friends, so it all worked out. Yeah, which is, you know, really, if you change your mind and put your mind to it, then, yeah. Yeah, it was really interesting because I wound up somebody I wind up working on projects with from time to time. So it was one project we were working on, and I was going, ooh. And then I just went in there, and I just said, you know, I'm going to do my best. And we got along fabulously. It was wonderful. And she even listened to some of my most excellent ideas, which she never did before. Yeah, amazing how people change, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so do not give up working for sentient beings, even when they're harmful. And you know, when you think about it, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas haven't given up on us. And we certainly haven't been gems all the time, have we? Yeah. And then fourth is to enhance one's bodhicitta, accumulate both merit and wisdom continuously. Okay? So those are the two collections of merit and wisdom. Yeah, that both depend on generating bodhicitta. So having bodhicitta and then making offerings, doing all sorts of meritorious projects and things that benefit sentient beings. And then collecting wisdom by meditating on emptiness. Okay, so those four help our bodhicitta from degenerating in this life. Okay, so how would they help? Why do you think remembering the advantages of bodhicitta again and again would help you, your bodhicitta not to degenerate in this life? Why would that be an antidote, a thing to practice?
Strengthen your kind of where you want to go. It would keep reinforcing, I'm going this way.
Yeah.
I'm going this way.
Okay, so it keeps reinforcing what your aim is. Yeah, and the more you reinforce something, then it's not going to degenerate. Okay, how about to strengthen it, to generating bodhicitta 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening? How's that going to keep your bodhicitta from degenerating in this life?
Keep the self-centered thought. It's a huge antidote to the self-centered thought, which is going to continually try to interfere with that motivation.
Okay, so our self-centeredness is continually going to try and interfere with our motivation, but by generating bodhicitta again and again, each morning, each evening, then we're keeping the self-centered thought from having a festival. Okay, what about the third one? Do not give up working for sentient beings even when they're harmful. How's that going to protect our bodhicitta?
Well, if you see how it works for you, just like in your example, you kept going back, and you didn't give up on her. You kept going back, and now you're friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it strengthened that bodhicitta, just not throwing something away because it's not working for you right at that moment, but keep on going and going and going, and eventually you get to where you want to go.
Yeah, okay. So it keeps you going on the path, even though something may not be working at this moment. You have faith in the long term where you're going, so it gives you some courage and some fortitude. And then as you keep going, then the situation changes. Yeah, and so that will prevent you from degenerating your bodhicitta.
Especially if they're harming you, then it strengthens you.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way, if they're harming you and you're able to respond by saying, I'm not giving up on them, then actually your bodhicitta is going to get stronger, isn't it?
Well, she's not giving up on yourself by doing that.
Exactly.
And let go of one person.
Yeah, exactly. You're not giving up on yourself.
If you give up on one person, you've pretty much given up on the bodhicitta.
Yeah, because if you give up on one, yeah, then you're saying bodhicitta is not going to work. And you're giving up on yourself, saying, I just don't have what it takes to do this, which is totally false, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and then to enhance your bodhicitta, accumulate merit and wisdom. How's that going to work to sustain your bodhicitta in this life?
nourishment. And by accumulating merit and working on our minds, it seems to be kind of watering it, fertilizing it, feeding it, and keeping it kind of moist.
Yeah, okay, so it's like nourishing your bodhicitta, providing that sustenance underneath it to keep your mind strong and keep you determined. Yeah. And also, I think, because to accumulate merit and wisdom with bodhicitta involves, you're again thinking about bodhicitta. You're doing actions to benefit others, so that's going to again reinforce, your motivation. And it's going to provide that, like you said, that sustenance, because whenever we accumulate merit, you can feel that again. Yeah, when you accumulate merit, you feel like you have something to stand on spiritually. Yeah, same with wisdom.
And I think the more we generate wisdom, the more we have the foundation for understanding why bodhicitta even works. We have a deeper based on reasoning, we have this deeper understanding of the benefit in a profound way.
Okay, you want to unpack that a little bit?
Well, I've always thought that to really have bodhicitta, it's like if we really get that we're truly empty of inherent existence and have no clue about that, then that tragedy just inspires our compassion all the more. And also, it's clearer and clearer that it's absolutely true that we can become Buddhas, and so can everybody else. And so the wisdom keeps convincing us more and more that the path we're on is absolutely dead on.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, so you're saying by accumulating not only merit but wisdom, first of all, the wisdom reassures you that the path you're on will lead to Buddhahood because it helps you to see how the defilements can be eliminated. And second of all, when you look at sentient beings and you see how they're in so much turmoil because of grasping at inherent existence, that increases your compassion, and that compassion, of course, increases your bodhicitta and strengthens your bodhicitta. Yeah. Okay, so this is a very good example of how different parts of the path and different practices can work together and complement each other in a really good way so that all of the practices, all of the parts benefit from it. Yeah?
Also, accumulating merit and wisdom is progressing along the path towards Buddhahood, which is actualizing our bodhicitta.
Right.
What we've said we want to do.
Okay, so actually engaging in collecting merit of wisdom is progressing on that path, so it's putting our bodhicitta into practice, so that also is going to prevent the bodhicitta from degenerating and strengthen it more. Yeah. Good. So it's interesting, when you see these points, then to say, well, how does that work? Why is that going to work? Because that really, deepens your understanding. Okay, then how to protect yourself from being separated from bodhicitta in future lives. So there's 4 destructive deeds and 4 constructive deeds. Okay, and they complement each other. So let's do the destructive ones first. So the 4 to abandon, deceiving your your guru, your abbot, in other words, your preceptor, or other holy beings with lies. Okay, so lying to your Dharma teacher, your preceptor, to bodhisattvas, not being straightforward, just plain old lying. It's not even specifying what we're lying about. Okay, we might be lying about the state of our own mind. We might be lying about what our real feelings are, what our real intentions are. We might be, doing some work for our teacher, but we don't want to tell them the truth because, about what's happening because they may not like it, so we make up something. Or we lie to our teacher because we didn't do what we were supposed to and we're too embarrassed to say so. I remember one time at the Abbey, there was somebody here and, I had asked him to do something, and then I came back later and, and I said, "Oh, did you do that?" And he said, "Yes." And I knew he hadn't. you know? I asked because, you know, rather than say, you know, you didn't do that, I thought, you know, I should ask, did you do that? Oh, yes. Okay. So I went back to the cabin, and then when I saw him later, he came and he said, well, actually, I didn't do that. Yeah, he kind of realized that he had just used a knee-jerk reaction to cover his tush. Okay, then the second one is, but you know, when you look at it, when we lie to our Dharma teachers or to holy beings, those are the people who are trying to help us. If we can't be straightforward and we're covering up our faults with them, covering up our mistakes, covering up our true intentions to make ourselves look good, who's losing out by doing that? We are. Because these are the people who are trying to help us. So if we can't be straightforward, then they can't help us. Yeah? So we really do lose out. Then second is causing others to regret virtuous actions that they have done. Yeah? So this can also happen easily. You know, somebody gives a donation, you know, a family member gives a donation, and you say, oh, why did you give that much? You know, we could have used it to go on vacation. You shouldn't have given that much. Yeah? Or somebody, you know, goes on retreat, and we say, why did you do that? Yeah, could have gone to the beach. You know, get a life. You know, so any kind of, you know, virtuous thing people do. Somebody may have taken even the 8 Mahayana precepts for the day. And we say, why'd you do that? You know, that doesn't do any good. You know, so any kind of thing where we're making people regret a virtuous action that they've done. Yeah, so this is something, you know, to be careful about. Yeah?
But for example, if first example, why do you give so much?
Mm-hmm.
The person who say why do you give so much, but the person who gives don't feel that, oh, I have given a lot, did not feel regret.
Right.
Then that person is actually fine.
Yeah, that person's fine. If somebody says, why did you give that much, but the other person feels perfectly comfortable, that's fine. That person doesn't lose out. But the person who tries to make them regret it, that person loses out. Okay? So it's that person, the person who says, why did you give so much? You shouldn't have. That's the person who is going to degenerate their bodhicitta. Yeah. Of course, if the other person agrees and says, oh, you're right, I really shouldn't have gone that much, then that person's also going to create a lot of negative karma. But if that person says, oh no, I feel completely happy with what I gave, then they're rejoicing in their own virtue, which is creating positive karma. And the other person who's trying to discourage them, that's the person who's creating negativity. Okay? Then the third one, abusing or criticizing bodhisattvas or the Mahayana. Okay? So somebody may be a bodhisattva with some kind of immense, majestic, you know, project that they want to do, and then you say, how come you're doing that? That's just totally unrealistic. Yeah? Kind of, you know, criticizing that person. Oh, that person doesn't know what they're doing. It's just ridiculous. Why are they doing that? And not understanding the reason why that bodhisattva is doing what they're doing. Yeah? A bodhisattva may be guiding a disciple in a certain way, and we don't understand, and then we criticize. Okay? So that kind of thing. Or criticizing the Mahayana, saying Mahayana scriptures aren't the word of the Buddha, or, you know, Mahayana's just unrealistic, you know, why should I try and become a Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings? That's just arrogance to think I can do so, you know. So, you know, any kind of thought like that, you know, Mahayana is just worthless. I mean, clearly, if you do that, you're gonna, you know, then you're definitely going to abandon bodhicitta and make a lot of negative karma with bodhisattvas. They say the one good thing about criticizing a bodhisattva is that bodhisattva, if it's a real bodhisattva, will generate compassion for you and make prayers to be able to lead you on the path in the future.
So don't get rid of them like you thought you would.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's the thing. The bodhisattva, our obnoxious behavior increases their compassion. So they make prayers, and then by the force of that prayer, that will benefit us. You know, hopefully next lifetime we won't have such a negative attitude. But of course, if we've put that negative attitude into our mind this lifetime, it's quite likely to come up again in the future unless we purify. Okay?
Criticizing other people is become a habitual, because I see people around me, every single thing they can criticize about, and I'm sure behind my back they will be criticizing me as well. So
Yes.
later about other people, I'm just okay.
Yes, exactly.
Then it will become like they don't only criticize the bodhisattva, they so habitually everyone.
Okay. So this is, yeah, okay, so here's the fault. Why doing this is going to make you lose your bodhicitta, is if you criticize a bodhisattva who's working for the benefit of all sentient beings, then of course you're going to criticize sentient beings. Yeah, if you're criticizing somebody who has love and compassion for everybody, then what are we going to do with the people who don't have love and compassion for everybody? We're going to find more to complain about with those people. But you're absolutely right, because this is what I think. When people come to me and criticize somebody else, for me, that's a warning to me not to get too close to this person, because I know that then they will go and criticize me behind my back.
Not only that, but I will be influenced by them and become very critical, and seeing people in all the bad things,
Yeah.
and forgetting about their so much good qualities that
Yeah.
they have.
Okay, so here, then you're talking about the disadvantage of hanging around people who are very critical, because you become like them. Your mind starts reverting to that critical thing of this is wrong with this one, this is wrong with this one, this is wrong with that. And because that person likes to talk about that, then you wind up talking about everybody else's faults, yeah, with them. And the conclusion of the discussion, when we do that, is that we're the two best people.
No, in my heart is I'm the best.
Yeah.
She's still not good enough.
Yeah, you're not good enough. But talking to you about the faults of everybody else, maybe you're second best, but I'm still the best, yeah.
To me, these four remind me of what Master Singh said. In one of their kind of guiding principles is never to cause people to lose hope. And all of these four, in some way, undermine, virtuous activities of people.
Okay, so let's go back and look at how these four do that, because you're saying with all these four that they undermine virtuous activities, especially by causing people to lose hope. So let's see, how does that work? How does deceiving your guru or abbot and holy beings with lies?
You've lost hope in yourself in a way by doing that, because you're not able to be transparent.
Okay, so by not being able to be transparent, you're giving up hope in yourself.
Yeah, and other people might give up hope in you, but I think it's more for the own person.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's not really the matter of other people giving up hope on us. It's us giving up hope on ourselves. Yeah, that's the real killer, I think, in the whole thing. How about the second one? Causing others to regret virtuous actions they've done.
It's just like we've just done something that's so beautiful, and you're just like throwing
Yeah, somebody's done something beautiful and you throw caca on it. Yeah, it really undermines the person's virtue.
It's like causes it to deflate.
Yeah, and it undermines their hope, their optimism.
It plants wrong views.
Yeah,
Like somebody has a good view to do something nice and you plant a view, oh, that's not the way to do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Having,
Also a tortured mental state. If you're criticizing virtue, then what about everything else going on?
right, yeah. If you criticize somebody's virtue, then,
That person is really in hell.
yeah, yeah, the person who criticizes virtue, then of course they're going to criticize non-virtue. Then they're not going to see anything good in the world at all, are they? You know? If our mind gets to the point where we criticize people's virtue,
But non-virtue, if they don't criticize, they rejoice. Wouldn't it be worse?
if they rejoice,
Rejoice the non-virtue.
if they rejoice in non-virtue also, that's not very good. Yeah, yeah. So both things, you know, kind of criticizing virtue and rejoicing in non-virtue, both of those things are making us go down the hill, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, fast way down the hill. Good. Yeah, so we have to be careful because when we see our mind going in that direction, you know, when we get discouraged, then it's so easy we just loop into our negative thoughts of discouragement, and then we criticize virtue, we rejoice in non-virtue, we get more angry and depressed, and we do that again. Yeah. It's quite cyclical, and it, you know, it leads us.
To the kind of doubt that goes to the wrong conclusion.
Yeah, yeah, it leads us to the doubt that goes to the wrong conclusion, and it leads us to wrong views, and it leads us just to mental hell, basically. Yeah. Let's pray that never happens, and let's make sure by being vigilant in our practice that it never happens. Praying alone won't do it. We have to be vigilant. Okay, and then the fourth one, yeah, is not acting with a pure selfless wish, but with pretension and deceit. Okay, so pretension and deceit, these are two mental factors. They come in a pair, they come up a lot together. Pretension is pretending to have good qualities you don't have. Deceit is pretending not to have bad qualities that you do have. Okay, so it's all based on wanting to give a good impression on others, you know, out of attachment to reputation, wanting people to think well of you. So you pretend to have good qualities you don't have, and you cover up your faults. Yeah? So, huh?
Some text is say concealment, is it? Is it equivalent?
Yeah, it's similar to concealment. Concealment is more when somebody comes and says you've committed a fault, and you don't want to admit it. Yeah. This one is like you're putting on a false front. Yeah. It's like, you know, you don't have a very strong practice, but yeah, I get up every morning and I do. And now that you know, you see me, you can see I'm getting up every morning, and you can see that I'm sitting in meditation position, and don't I look holy, and you know, and then you put on this front so people don't see your faults. Yeah. And you're acting hypocritically, pretending to have good qualities that you don't. You know, and you butter people up. Yes, sometimes we do it because we want to get something from somebody. You know, sometimes we do it just because we want to create a good impression. Why do we want to create a good impression? Because we want to get something out of somebody. Yeah? Okay, so instead of acting with a pure selfless wish, we're doing these kind of shenanigans. So that's clearly going to degenerate our practice, isn't it? Yeah, you know, it's going to be hard to have compassion and kindness towards others if we're acting like that, or thinking like that. Okay? Then the 4 practices, the 4 constructive deeds. Yeah? So the first one is abandon deliberately deceiving and lying to gurus, abbots, and so forth. Okay? So instead of misleading them, telling them the truth. Yeah? And yeah, be open, and then they can help us. And if we have bad qualities that we don't want them to see, then we should get rid of those bad qualities. Rather than cover them up and lie about them, better to get rid of them. Isn't it? But that might be some impetus for us too, don't you think? Like if you're so embarrassed that you have this like really bad quality, and it's so hard to say it to your teacher because you feel so embarrassed and awful about it, then instead of staying stuck and feeling embarrassed and awful and how can I cover it up, how about using that same energy to get rid of that fault?
Instead,
Yeah.
we use the energy to hide, to pout.
Yeah. Don't we? We use all our energy to hide, to conceal, to make something up. Huh?
To be the victim.
Yeah, to be the victim. We do the whole thing. But we could use all that energy to get rid of the fault too. And then we wouldn't have anything we needed to hide, and we wouldn't have anything we're embarrassed about.
Well, I understand all of that, and it's hard sometimes. Like until you're able to do it. Oh my goodness! And you suffer all that time. And then you see like that was it. You just whatever,
Yeah.
But to get there,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a long while.
Yeah. So you're saying, that we'll suffer a long time in our, I feel so bad about doing this, I don't want anybody to know, And then once you get to the point of, I've got to overcome it, then overcoming it is not really that difficult. But you spent so much time suffering beforehand. For what?
Yeah.
Yeah? For the purpose of self-centered mind. I mean, this is the fault of self-centered mind. Because that's what self-centered mind makes us do. Isn't it? Yeah? So sometimes we have to go through hell.
Self-created hell.
It's self-created hell to get to the point where we say, maybe I don't need to create this hell realm for myself.
Yeah. Bend down.
And what?
Bend down. Let go of the arrogance.
Yeah.
Have some humility.
Yes. Bend down, have some humility, let go of the arrogance. Because often sometimes when we're suffering a lot, there's a lot of arrogance in there.
Extremely a lot.
Yeah. It took me a long time to see how arrogance gets involved, when you're suffering a lot. But there's a certain kind of arrogance. How would you describe that arrogance that's there when you're completely...
Self-righteous flavor. Self-righteous?
Self-righteous, yeah.
It has that flavor. Like you can't see that you might be wrong. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell me I can be a happy person. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we're like, isn't it?
It's also, I can do this. It's that kind of arrogance. I'll do it myself.
Oh, okay.
Nobody can help me.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Right. Yes. I'm in hell, but I'll take care of it. I don't need your suggestions. Thank you very much. Get off my back. Leave me alone. I'll figure this out myself.
Well, there's also the one that says, I can do this, I just don't want to do it right now.
Aha, yes. Yes, the one that says, yeah, I can overcome this. But I'm getting some ego benefit by being miserable. Yeah? Do you get some ego benefit by being miserable? It's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes we will really stay stuck. Yeah?
3 years now.
Only? Yeah? Okay, so, yeah, learning to stop, you know, the lies to the people who can help us, and stop the arrogance in the presence of the people who can help us. Yeah. And then second, to be straightforward without pretension or deceit. So, you know, again, be straightforward, be transparent. I don't need to put on a show for anybody, you know. When Jeffrey said last week, well, that shows the quality of your meditation, I said, you're right. He's right. What am I going to say? You know? Yeah. Okay, then third, generate the recognition of bodhisattvas as one's teacher and praise them. So instead of putting down bodhisattvas and their virtuous activities, you know, look at them as beings who are working for the benefit of the world and think, what can I learn from them? Yeah. Here are these beings who are working for the benefit of the world, and if I watch how they act, I'm going to learn something good. So instead of having my antenna out on picking faults and criticizing, yeah, and sometimes we pick faults and criticize because we don't have the ability to do what they're doing. Yeah? So because we don't have the ability to do what they're doing, and it's so we don't want to admit that we're really not that good, then we criticize their virtuous actions. Yeah?
And we're jealous.
Yeah. Kind of a jealousy and an arrogance too. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the great tragedy is that doesn't create the cause to cultivate, as in that's the opposite, right? You want so much to create that cause.
Yeah.
And you're doing the thing that's going
To do the opposite, right. Because you're saying, I want to follow the bodhisattva path. I want to learn from these bodhisattvas. There's a bodhisattva in front of you, practicing in a way that you can't even imagine. And then you criticize it because it's too hard for you to do. Instead of saying, yeah, it's too hard for me to do, but boy, I really rejoice at that person that's able to do that. That's so remarkable, so incredible that they're able to do that. And it's, you know, it's my own weakness that I can't. Instead of, why are they doing this?
But they didn't get there causelessly.
Right, they didn't get there causelessly. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time seeing a video. Lama Zopa Rinpoche took a group of people to Tibet. And Rinpoche, I mean, he's just... Yeah? So there they are on a Tibetan road with dirt. And Rinpoche's prostrating, you know? Prostrating 3 steps, prostrating 3 steps, prostrating in the dirt on the side of a road in Tibet, you know? And all these people are following him doing that. And I'm going, what's Rinpoche doing? You know? Like, why is he doing that? And then I've said, uh-oh, that's not a good way to think. You know, just because I don't want to, you know, I was just watching a movie. Just because I don't want to stick my nose in the dirt on the side of a road of Tibet, why should I criticize somebody else who has so much faith and is doing that? What they're doing is something really remarkable and very virtuous. You know, and it's just me who, like, I really, you know, yeah, I'll prostrate in a clean place, you know, not on the dirt. the side of a road, please. You know, because then I get all dirty, and then I inhale the dirt, and it gets in my eyes and my face, and then I'm going to cough, and I'll get a cold. And I don't like being dirty. And also, when he does it, he's doing it for so long, hour after hour after hour, all the way to Lhasa. You know? And it's like, for the same amount of energy taking to, you know, say, why is this person doing that? To say, I can't do it, but wow, how wonderful it is that they're doing it. And here are all these kind of ritzy-titsy people who have faith, so much faith in Rinpoche that they'll do anything that he does. How remarkable, in all their nice clothes. Yeah, that's pretty nice. But please, if you're going to make me do that, I want a towel. Yeah, and then, you know, prostrate on the towel, then move it up ahead for me, because I don't want to touch the dirty towel. And then I'll make another prostration. And, you know, I hope there's, you know, a box of some mineral water up a few feet, and I'm going to need some brownies to give me energy. And the sun's too hot, so I want a hat. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I need a mask, too. I need a mask.
Because it's in Tibet.
And what?
An oxygen.
Oh, yeah, oxygen. I need some oxygen, you know. And then all these other people, you know, who have so much faith, who are prostrating, they're getting in my way. Yeah, so if they could just move out of my way, so I have a little bit more room to prostrate and not push me from behind to do faster.
You don't want somebody standing there with an umbrella?
Oh, yes, an umbrella, that's right, yes. Yes. No, not just an umbrella, a beautiful canopy.
Yeah.
Yes, I want a beautiful canopy so that when I prostrate, I'm well protected, and so that the people in front who see know where I am and know that I am coming.
So you need somebody there taking a picture too.
Yes, yes, yes. You've got to video it, take a picture, put it on Facebook. Yeah, with a donation button note next to it.
I'm not allowed on Facebook, sorry.
Okay.
You need to take that chair that you're sitting in all the way to Tibet.
Oh, yes, this chair.
That United, what is it, chair?
Yes, I only want this chair. And you're not to put a towel on it. Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah, take my tree with. Yeah, she just jumped off the table when she heard that. Yes, you want to go and prostrate in the dirt in Tibet?
Is there food there?
Okay, so then third is generate the recognition of bodhisattvas as one's teacher and praise them. So I did that one, right? And then fourth is assume the responsibility oneself to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. Yeah. So instead of you lead them to enlightenment,
She's down there.
because I want to sleep, you know, assume the responsibility oneself. I'm going to lead them to enlightenment. Yeah? And so act with sincerity and honesty and increase our bodhicitta. Okay. So, any questions?
Can you talk again about interferences?
Hmm?
Can you talk again about interferences? You said bodhicitta protects us from interferences.
Okay, so,
We've talked about this many times.
yeah. Okay, so how does bodhicitta prevent us from having interferences? Okay, what do people think? Does it interfere with generating the self-centered mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Interference.
Yeah, so it prevents the interference of the self-centered mind. Does it prevent interference from creating negative karma? Yeah. If people have a negative attitude towards you, but in your heart,
Negative attitude.
if people hey, Mudita, mind your manners. And you mind your manners. We're talking about bodhicitta. Don't destroy your good karma by getting angry. It's not worth it. Yeah? All she's doing is walking by.
That's enough.
Where's Mudita? Mudita. Oh, yeah. You gonna play with me? You want to play footsie, Mudita?
Oh, yeah.
Let's play footsie. Okay, so if somebody's harming you, or even if somebody's not harming you, if you respond with bodhicitta, then it eliminates the interference of an unhappy mind, and it eliminates destroying your virtue, and it eliminates creating non-virtue. Yeah. So bodhicitta has many benefits. It's good to practice bodhicitta. Yeah? Because there's nowhere in the whole wide world where you're going to go where you're not going to meet a kitten that acts like she does. Yeah? There's no place you can go. You have to learn to deal with it, my tree.
Use the third one. That's a first.
Yeah.
Three all in one spot. They don't do that.
Yeah. The power of bodhicitta. Yeah. So you remember you used to react that way towards Karuna, and now you and Karuna are friends? So the same thing can happen with mudita. Yeah. Don't give up on her.
It might take you 3 years, but it's possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah? Okay, so you see how it prevents interferences? Yeah. And especially if somebody does have a harmful attitude towards you, if you respond with kindness, it makes it much harder for that person to act in a harmful way towards you. Yeah. Yeah, it's very disarming. Yeah. What are people online?
My cat is paying attention.
Well, this is benefiting more than human beings then. Okay.
Well, going from point 3 to point 4 is kind of a bit of a jump.
Of what? Going from
Well, just
generate the
rejoicing in
recognition?
someone's great deeds and then assuming the responsibility.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of
Okay. So there's a jump between rejoicing in somebody else's great deeds and assuming the responsibility to begin the practice of doing great deeds ourselves. Yeah? So we rejoice, but I think sometimes we make ourselves discouraged because we say, okay, I'll rejoice, but then their deeds are so magnificent, and to assume the responsibility to lead all sentient beings, we go from here to the perfect ideal and then say, wow, that's too huge. It's like, going from kindergarten to, first year in college. Yeah? And what we have to do is go from kindergarten to first grade. Yeah? So yes, I rejoice in their virtuous deeds. Yeah? I want to be able to assume the responsibility for leading all sentient beings to enlightenment. Intellectually, I'll do it. I know I need to practice. I know it's going to take me a while. But, you know, I'm starting out at least saying the words to myself, planting the seed in my mind so that one day I'll actually be able to do that.
It happened to me this week. Like I was face to face with my laziness, my laziness,
Mm-hmm.
and then my mind went like, it's right now. You can do something about it instead of being overwhelmed by it. Yeah, you're lazy and you're sloppy in your practice.
Yeah.
Right now, you're meditating right now. You can do it. That's what will change.
Yes, exactly.
Work up your
Yeah. So instead of making a generalization about ourselves and our practice, I'm so lazy in my practice, and then faced with that, like,
I'm never gonna make it.
I'm never going to make it, forget it, I can't assume it's a responsibility for all sentient beings. Then you're saying, instead of like making that generalization and then giving up hope, to say right now, I can do one small step.
Yeah, and that small step, if I keep doing that.
Right. And if I keep making those small steps. So it's not like I have to, you know, become Buddha overnight. You know, I can take one step at a time and just, you know, learn to smile at the people I live with. That's a good first step, you know, or learn to, you know, focus on the verse that I'm saying. Let's just focus on that verse. That's a good first step, you know, to counteract my laziness and distraction. Okay? So it's the thing of, you know, make small pieces that we can chew easily.
Though it seems like a big step between 3 and 4, actually, it seems like the inspiration for 4 is there in 3.
Yeah, exactly. The inspiration. If you rejoice enough, then your intention to do that becomes more and more and more, and then you actually take it on. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just noticing in this retreat that having a big mantra commitment.
What?
Having a big mantra commitment
Uh-huh.
is the best illustration of this very fact. That at the beginning it looks like you're never going to get these done, and then one day after day after day after day after day, it really does pile up. You go, wow, look at this. One little teeny bead at a time.
Yes. Okay. So you're giving the example of having a mantra commitment and retreat. And when you start the retreat and you're busy doing all your math and like, oh, I'm never going to finish, you know. And then you just do it and you do one bead at a time. And then, you know, at the end of 3 months, it's like, wow, I've done a lot of mantra here.
And you can almost track the causes that, you know, one leads to the next, leads to the next.
Yeah, okay, so doing one mantra, then you do the next, then you do the next, yeah. So it's like once you get yourself going like this, then it's easy to keep doing it. Yeah. Whereas at the beginning, if you just look ahead and say, you know, I'm going to break my thumb. Counting all these mantras, I'm never going to be able, let alone say the mantra, I'm not going to even be able to count them. Yeah. Yeah. So do you see how our mind gets very extreme? How we look and we create an extreme situation and then we give up on ourselves and give up hope. Whereas if we just do, like you're saying, one beat at a time, one small step at a time, then we'll be able to do it. Mm-hmm.
Too valuable. I find that I even do that with people in the community, is that I put on them an expectation that they should be in their practice, in their training, in their mind transformation, way up ahead someplace else too,
Mm-hmm.
rather than realizing that, from my own experiences, that afflictive states of mind and mind transformation take that moment by moment little step thing. So I can see how I sometimes impute that same unrealistic expectation
On other people.
on other people.
People, yeah, of course we do, you know. You're supposed to be Buddha. It's okay that I'm not Buddha yet. But you're supposed to be Buddha by now. But then if you're Buddha, I'm going to be jealous of you because you're better than me. Yeah? I mean, this is the way the afflicted mind works. Okay? Should we dedicate?
May the
Spiritual teachers who lead me on the sacred path, and all spiritual friends who practice it, have long life. May I pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. Grant such inspiration, I pray. May the lives of the venerable spiritual mentors be stable, and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of Losang's teachings dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds always increase. Guratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from the suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. In the snowy mountain pure land, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig, there you stay until samsara ends. May the deeds of explaining and practicing the Dharma, done by groups supporting the teachings and their upholders, who spread the view of dependent arising and non-violent actions in the 10 directions, and especially at Sravasti Abbey in the West, flourish.